أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الدين النصيحة.
ألهاكم التكاثر. Now we say that takathur here, it doesn't have to be related to wealth. And that was the statement of Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, Ibn Kathir, Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahumullah. They said in anything, even in children, people compete in terms of who has the most offspring, who has the most number of boys, who has all these things that people compete. People even compete when it comes to religious things without seeking the face of Allah. For example, people competing for knowledge's sake. Oh, I have a doctorate, I have a professorship, I have 3, I have 4, I have this. Even buying books. I have more books than you, I collect rare books. Anything people collect and compete with each other in that takes them away from Allah. Because remember, we said it has to be blameworthy. That's why Allah said, Alhaakum. Otherwise, it would be, there are things you can compete with that are praiseworthy, or there are things you can gather that are praiseworthy. But here we're talking about the blameworthy things. So somebody, and one of the mashayikh, he gave a beautiful, beautiful example. He said competing for followers on social media. And I think that is an absolutely amazing, amazing example. Alhaakum at-Takathur. You've become preoccupied competing with numbers. Who has more? That's what takathur means. Competing as to who has more. Who's got more followers? Who's got more likes? Who's got more views? And this could even happen to the talib ilm, to the scholar, to the sheikh, to the da'iyah, to the student, to the righteous person, that they've become so busy with, I want more. How many people came to your class? How many people came to your class? Just competing for numbers. And as soon as you start competing for numbers and the numbers matter to you instead of what is with Allah, you fall under this ayah, Alhaakum at-Takathur. In whatever those numbers are, could be your education, could be grades, competing for who got the most 9s or 8s at GCSE, who got this, competing in anything that people compete with that takes you away from Allah Azza wa Jal. And it's a kind of lahu, it makes your heart busy with that thing instead of what it is that you're supposed to be busy with. Another example I really liked from At-Takathur is At-Takathur fil Hajj. In Hajj, can you imagine that? I made Hajj 12 times. I made Hajj 14 times. I made Hajj 21 times. People competing with each other in the number of times they made Hajj. وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ, what will make you know that even one was accepted? Competing with each other, and sometimes, not even asking was the wealth halal, just pure competition that takes you away from Allah. So don't think it should only be money and it should only be the dunya. It can even be the deen, but in a way that's blameworthy. It's not about numbers, and our religion is not about numbers. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَيَأْتِ النَّبِيِّ, that there will be a prophet that will come يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَيْسَ مَعَهُ أَحَدٍ, and there will be nobody who answered his call at all. That prophet will be better than you, better than me, better than all of those du'at and scholars, better than those people who have got 100,000 people accepted Islam at their hands, and that prophet is better than all of them. And yet nobody answered his call. Nobody. وَلَيْسَ مَعَهُ أَحَدٍ. Nobody came with him at all. So don't think our deen is not about numbers. Our da'wah is not about numbers. The way we tell people about Islam is not about numbers. Sometimes people say that to you. How many shahadas have you taken? Wallah, that question, it pains me. And if someone says that to you, say to them, Alhaakum at-Takathur. Does the number matter? Or does it matter which one was accepted by Allah? Does it matter how many of them stayed Muslim? Does it matter how many of them did that benefit you? Did Allah accept from you and put it on your account for Yawm al-Qiyamah? So none of this thing, don't just think about the dunya, it's about anything in which people compete for numbers instead of or at the expense of the religion of Al-Islam and sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.